the final day of the course is approaching. So hope that you all are on track to finish finish the preparation until Monday. So that means that today and tomorrow we will mostly have some kind of relaxed session, so it's a bit, yeah. So again, I'm open for your questions and answers. First of all, today we'll go through the topics mentioned we can discuss, and yeah, also we'll finish the example we started last time. So just to not repeat the mistake, not mistake, but with the performance of Visual Studio as I had last time. So there I just simply prepared the layout, and we will focus on the code mostly today. But that will be the second part. And so first of all, we'll start with the topics we mentioned we can discuss. If you have anything more to add, you are free to add. And yeah, then we'll go not one by one. So maybe I will have a little bit of picking of the sequence of these topics. So just yeah, to align this discussion a little bit, yeah. So regarding the first topic, then we will maybe mostly cover this alongside with the example for this task. So yeah, this will be discussed then alongside, and yeah. So then first of all, yeah, maybe then we can start with APIs. So basically, what is APIs? These are application programming interfaces. I'm pretty sure you can face them maybe in all or definitely most of the IT environments you may be working with. So yeah, so APIs. So that's the interface. It means that this is some kind of basically not the interface from the object-oriented programming point of view, but the interface from the usage point of view. So what does it mean? It means that this is some kind of program or just the software or something, maybe even something in between the program and software. So it's some kind of tool. Yeah. So usually that's written code or something similar, which allows the programmers to exchange the data in between different. Usually we say different, maybe different softwares, different phases of the program. So maybe that would be, as an example, the website, the browser, and some kind of system which is used on maybe local computer or server or something like that. And so basically, yeah, we are exchanging data in between them. For example, that would be that let's say that again, I guess I mentioned it before, but just imagine the sky scanner, for example. If you know what it is, maybe most of you use this, maybe not. Yeah, so that's the tool where you can search for them for the flights. Yeah, from maybe all of the airlines, so definitely most of the airlines. Yeah, so you can search for the flights. You can get the routes, get the best offers for your flights. Yeah, and what's the point? The point is that so again, imagine you have the software. The software is stored somewhere. It has the program, yeah, which is executed there, and so on. So it has a database where the local data is stored, and yeah, and then works this way. So yeah, there's the server where the application is stored. The code which basically is stored. There's some kind of local database, yeah, which maybe stores your user parameters or something similar. And then the point is from where and how do we get the the data about the tickets from many different airlines. Yeah, so the thing is that the airlines they have their own databases. Yeah, they have their own websites, their own softwares, or something similar. And yeah, then the point is that if we have the real-time data, yeah, there are basically two options. First option is that we have just maybe let's start with the real-time data. So the first option is that we have real-time data. It means that when we actually use Skyscanner, when we press search, then we get the most relevant ticket offers. Yeah, so it means that you will not receive the offer which is not relevant anymore. You will not receive the flights which are sold out, for example. Yeah, so you will receive only the relevant information, which in fact is yeah. So the question is from where the information is then fetched. So it's obviously then it's fetched from the airline database of their software, right? Because I mean the Skyscanner, for example, itself, it does not store the data from all the airlines all the airlines in the world. Yeah, so it's not possible, right? I mean, in theory, that may be some kind of possible, but of course, this is not how it happens due to security reasons and lots of different things. So yeah, it actually means that Skyscanner needs to get data from the airlines, right? So then, yeah, then I mean, from the technical point of view, how to establish such connection. Of course, again, first of all, the thing is that Skyscanner cannot just directly access the databases from the airlines airline softwares. That's not airline softwares, maybe not maybe, but so just simply their database. It's not possible. Yeah, so no one will give you the access uh, to to just to any company, yes, or to the database of any company. For example, if you develop your application and you want to use some kind of data from other businesses, so I mean that's for sure they will not give you the just direct access to their databases. Yeah, so it's not possible. But yeah, so in some kind, but we need to exchange data in some way, and what is needed for this to achieve this. Uh, to achieve this, we can use APIs, the application programming interfaces. They can be developed on on both sides. Yeah, so it actually means that there's some kind of code written, some kind of software program which can be then executed, and then this program will send the specific data. I mean, so you have your own program, yeah. For example, again, as I'm just discussing the Skyscanner, yeah. So let's say we have the Skyscanner, then the Skyscanner sends the request to the software used by airlines, and then the airline actually then sends the data back. Yeah. So and this actually program, this way of exchanging, basically, yeah, we can call it interface. It is called API. I mean, there can be more specific terms about it. Like we can call the API as a simple program, which is placed on the airline side or something similar. But the thing is that it is related to the actual. So basically, that's the software, the program. Yeah, it may be called differently and in different places, but the thing is that that's the place, the program, the interface where which allows to exchange the data in between different locations, different softwares, and this is what the APIs are used for. So that's the point. Do you have any questions? So maybe let me check one thing. Yeah, yeah, there's some data protocols exchanging, like something you may have heard about. Uh, Something about REST transfer, yeah, representation states transfer. So that's maybe maybe share the screen, maybe screen, but the image with you. And so using kind of REST software, so that's yeah, that's basically that's the file format, yeah, the data format, what can be transferred, what can be used to transfer the data. Of course, there's some kind of HTTP methods in between, and so get posts to delete and so on. Maybe I will not go deep in this structure because this is maybe more technical about the web development there, but that's the point. Yeah, that's the point. There's some kind of data, and the data format can be JSON, can be XML, or something similar, and then the data exchanging happens there. Yeah, so do you have any questions? Let's go the APIs. Yeah, so that's the point, and in fact, the APIs, they can be developed. They can be developed in .NET. We can write such APIs. Again, that may take some time to actually discuss all these options and all these points what are required, but hope that you got the main idea here. Yeah. So yeah, that's about APIs, and so maybe let's first of all go through the technical topics there, and then we will maybe go to more more general topics. So then we'll talk about the portfolio later today, but yeah, also about the project. So let's um, maybe go to the technical part there. So. One moment. One moment. So yeah, okay, maybe let's take this one. So the question was about the differences between razor pages, and MVC. So basically, so first of all, MVC, that's the model view controller, and yeah, so there's the mentioning of Blazor or razor pages. In fact, Blazor actually uses razor pages. So then the question should then be stated: what's the difference between model view controller and the Blazor? Yeah, and so yeah, that's the actual really interesting question from the web programming point of view. So first of all, how the web program, actually the web programming works. So let's take a look on the on the browser, how the web pages are loaded, how the information there is stored, and how can we actually work and manage it. So maybe let's let me open. We can open any page. It doesn't matter. Let's maybe open the local host. Yeah, then in fact you can open any page you want. So that's That's not important yet, so you can basically work with and take any page you want. So first of all, what's the point? So that's the web page. So yeah, the thing, I guess I discussed this point at the beginning of our course about how the web programming works. But let's then also talk a little bit deeper about it. So first of all, we have the web page. The first question is where this, basically how this web page is generated. Because in fact, when we have the web page loaded, so this is web page. We get the HTML content. So maybe that's more deeper, that's deeper about the web programming in general, but we will not go deep in HTML, how it is written and how to make the changes there. But in fact, yeah, maybe you already heard about HTML. Maybe you also had a chance to write something there, write something in HTML there. Yes, and the point is that all the pages at the result, they are written in HTML. I mean, any web pages. Yeah, and then the key thing is from where this HTML is generated. And I mean all the data you see, so even if data is fetched from the database, if it's fetched from the server, all the data, then what you see on the screen, it will actually be written in HTML, yeah, in HTML language. So yeah, and then the point is from where the data is not the data, I mean the web pages are generated. So first of all, we have two parts. Yeah, what I said, we have the server part. Yeah, so that's the part where the web page code itself is generated, is located and then also generated. We may have some application servers, so these are more close to the web development. Yeah, so the first thing is that we have the server where the website is located, or website, the web page is located, and we have a database. Yeah, so we'll not touch the database first, but let's talk about the server side. So what actually happens when we load the web page? Then some kind of when we request the web page, right? In this case, I request a localhost, the PHP admin. In practice, you can request any page you want. So basically, what happens? So there is the connection. And maybe I'll not go deep and explain how the connections are do really work there, but the fact is that there is the connection, there is the request, and then yeah. So in fact, if you use Google Chrome, then and I guess most of modern browsers, then you can use inspect element, and from here you can get the main information about how the processes on your web page work. So first of all, maybe let's open it and then let's refresh. Yes, so there are some JavaScript codes executed, some warnings. Sometimes you will also see the errors, and that's maybe a little bit different point. But yeah. So what you see here, I guess we did not discuss it, but this may be quite useful for you in practice. Yeah, so now we have HTML page generated. So it means that all the details I have here on page, this is HTML. Yeah, so then you can just navigate through any element from here. So let's say we navigate here, and then on the right side I can see how this is written. Yeah, so there are some dynamic things which can be written in HTML, but in fact, what happens there when we do some controllings, maybe not such as like we changed that would not be the best one. So let's change the language, go back to English. Yeah, so but if we have some kind of dynamic things, if something is moving or something appears, then it is written in JavaScript. Yeah, so there is also, yeah, so if we talk about the static content, then it is written in HTML. If we talk about if something is moving, like maybe we have some drag and drop things, then it is, and basically the content when it's changed, then we talk about JavaScript. Yeah, there is some JavaScript coding, and this basically means that this is the code which can be executed and the page is not loaded. Because again, what's the point? Is the point when we navigate to any place, like let's say we navigate here, then okay, one moment. Yeah, so there's the difference. There is the difference. For example, if we simply change the language, for example, let's take any language, make English, and then what we can see that the page is reloaded. So what basically happens at this point, it sends the request to the server, and then the page is rendered again. Yeah, so it means that the page is reloaded, all the data is then actually read from the database, and so basically everything happens from the beginning, in fact. Yeah. So, but yeah. So let's say that so again, if we continue, we have this HTML code. Yeah, it's written. There's styling. Yeah, so I can change the styles. Maybe not go. We'll not go deep here. Yeah, the console, from the console you can execute JavaScript. Again, maybe that's when you have the source. Yeah, the source actually. Yeah. So what is stored in the source? In the source, you have all the files from this page loaded at this moment in your browser. Yeah, so it means that you do not need to send some kind of requests to get these files. These files are loaded. Yeah, so you don't need to refresh the page. You do not need to just send any requests to the server. You have all the files stored here, and they are available for the usage of the web page. Yeah, so the files are loaded. Then there are also some network details, so you can see the requests what are sent. So maybe I can clear them all. I can refresh the page, and you see that it is calling the index page. Then it is requesting for some kind of files, and so on and so on. And so you can see all the requests here. Yeah, and also when you send the data, for example, if you use API and same APIs, then there may be some kind of, in this case we don't have them, but you may see the request file that can be JSON file or something similar. So maybe something like, you don't have something like this, but yeah, the idea is that if you have some data exchanging, if you send some data, or if you get some data, this data may also, the original format of this data, if it's JSON file or XML or something similar, then the original format of this data will be, the original data will be, in original format will be available here, you can see. But yeah, the point is that if you just simply, if you have this inspect element closed, and then you do some things there, and then you go to inspect element, again, just right click inspect, then you will see that the network will be empty, so it traces the changes, not the changes, it traces the actions you do once it is opened. So if I open it and then keep it opened and do some changes, then I can, not changes, and do some actions, then I can see the requests it has here. So then there are some things about performance, so that's maybe not really related to development. Yeah, so just in case you develop your application, you can, or the website, you can check the performance this way. And maybe I'll not go here, that's not so relevant now. So yeah, but the thing is that we have HTML, we have some kind of data loaded, and this data may be used by the user who actually uses the web page. the web page there. Yes, so that's the beginning. Do you have any questions maybe already? Okay, but yeah, so that's the point. And why am I talking about it? Because in fact, this is the key point when we talk about the difference between model view controller or and the uh, other specific frameworks we can use in .NET or just any other environment. Yeah. And let's first we talk about how this tree. Maybe I'll not show the example, but I'll explain the structure, what is used by model view control, not the structure, but the way of the page content generation, the difference between the model view controller and the Razor. I mean the Razor pages. So what's the difference? The difference is that for model view controller, the point is that, like if I'm not mistaken, then yes, that's what happens here. And that's some kind of model view controller, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but it looks like here there is the model view controller or something similar developed. So used. So the thing is that when I navigate between some kind of pages or tabs, and I do some actions there. I can maybe execute a query from here, check the data, change the data. So I can navigate the pages here, so you can see that the page itself is not reloaded. Yeah, so it's not re-rendered. Everything happens on site. Yeah, so it is, say, more dynamic. Yeah, it is dynamic. You can see that the content is changed, and also we can have some data exchanging. So in fact, yeah, so the key point here is that the pages are not re-rendered. Yeah, so everything happens practically, say, dynamically. And then on the other side, we have some kind of apps or just a part of the app or the website where where when we just click on some tabs, so let's say just open. And here you can see that when I navigate in between the tabs, you can see that the page is reloaded, re-rendered. Yeah, and in this case we don't have. I mean, I would say there may be, most likely there's some kind of model view controller approach used, but the thing is that in this case the pages are simply loaded from the beginning every time, and that's practically the point. That's practically the point, that for model view controllers the pages more um, are more dynamic. Yeah, so more dynamic. I press on the button on the buttons, and then some kind of content is loaded, but the page is not reloaded. The page itself is not reloaded, and so it stays the same. It stays the same, and yeah. So comparing to the Razor pages, for them actually the thing is that they are loaded. There is some kind of logic there, and then in fact they stay as they are when they are loaded. Yeah, so that's the point. That's the point, and let me also quickly show you what the Razor pages are, how they look like. So a moment, I'll show. Yeah, basically this is quite common syntax and the way of usage. So just to make it quick, I will Maybe show you some pictures. Moments. Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, then this is this one. And yeah, so the point is that you have some kind of HTML page, or it is similar to HTML. In fact, I mean, such structures used in many different web frameworks. Yeah, so then the thing is that there is, in this case, we have C# code included. We can include C# code there, and then based on the C# code, we can, based on the information we trigger using the C# code, we can render and generate the HTML page then. Yeah. So that's in fact, I mean, yeah. So this is what I just mentioned. When we have HTML page, normally it should be rendered in some way, because it is not possible to just, so like if you have, for example, for all the news or also Google here, so it's like there's no separate there are no separate files for each for each uh, for each search. Yeah, so each search result you have, yeah, like it's not like for each search result it may have some HTML file stored somewhere. In fact, the page is generated, so like there's simply some kind of logic. I'm not sure which language and which framework is used by Google. They have their own framework, I don't really know. But yeah, the fact is that the logic goes through, it searches for some kind of pages, and then gets the images, and then just simply has some kind of loop which goes through and shows and generates that HTML, which then has, in this case we can go to inspect element, which then has the special tags, like these tags, where they are not too heavy, but yeah, so has the tags which then store these windows for the corresponding pages. Then the thing is that there's some kind of programming logic which generates all this HTML stuff there. Yeah, and as a result, you get the web page, just the information there. And for the Razor pages, the thing is that they are used for more static content. Yeah. Yeah, and so yeah. Then the question may be, why may we need to use Razor pages and just instead using the model view controller. So in fact, model view controller is a little bit more, I'll say not more heavy, but more tricky and more complicated from usage point of view. Yeah, so like I can show you one picture. So there is also picture. Yeah, so you can see the difference between the how the Razor page may look, and how the model view controller framework based this may look like. And so then you can see that for the Razor we just simply have pages. Yeah, so open every page, get the I mean not get, but logic is triggered, content is loaded, content is rendered, and that's it. Yeah, so just simply one folder with all the pages, and we are done. Comparing to when we have a model view controller, there we have the views. Yes, again, in that sense that we should have the view, we should have the controller which actually controls this view, maybe some general controllers. Yeah, and then we also need to link them in between. Yeah, so then you see the folder of controllers. In this case, there's only one control, but in theory, for each view, we may have a separate controller. Then the model class, yeah, or the model, which basically describes the model of the whole application. It is more flexible. It has more features. It has more ability. It provides more abilities for the development and for the flexibility. But it is say it's maybe more complicated than to write it. But yeah, so it depends. It depends, and model view controller is actually very popular. And I mean, from my experience, all the frameworks I used before, all the web frameworks I used before, they are based on the model view controller approach. Yeah, so this is quite typical. Typical Razor is more simple, but it can also be used in many cases. Yeah, but just for more simple cases. Yeah, for more simple applications. Do you have any questions? Okay, if there are no questions, then yeah, the next thing about ASP.NET Core. So that's the actual framework. And so what to actually say about it? So there may be different another presentation than you here. Not too sure if we can cover it. Maybe I will. What will I do? I will maybe just quickly create the project. And in Visual Studio, and yeah, then we can just quickly take a look on it. So let's say that maybe let's take web application, so you can also select some other type of project. That this is up to you. Let me open it. Yeah, and yeah, basically from here you can do the development. And so in fact we have these Razor pages here, and so you can actually define and write the logic for them. In this case, the logic is just simple. Yeah, so for most cases, you'll find the index page. I mean, not the most, but I guess for almost all the websites, all the web applications, index page is the starter page here. So every time you see index, means that this is the starter page. Like every time you navigate to any web page, if it's like www something, then you open it, then the starting page will always be so some certificates. Not interesting. Then the starting page will almost always be index something. So yeah, when I run this application, I hope it will run. I don't need any specific server installation, so let's check. But yeah, in this case, the index page should load, and it means that this page should load. Then hope it will work. Local hosting things may be a little bit sometimes maybe a little bit tricky because there may be some ports occupied and lots of similar things. So then yeah, this depends. It depends, and yeah, so hope it will. Maybe not. See, okay, finally we are here. Yeah, and we actually see that the index page is loaded. And what's the index page? I mean, this is this one. Yeah, so we are here under the interface. So what we call it? Close it. Hold on. Yes, it calls it that. Let's maybe try again. Yes, this is index page. It's here. So it's open to. Okay, maybe I'll just simply open it in a new window then. Let's try again. And at this point, actually, hosting is run. Yeah, so by default, if you don't run any hosting, then you cannot just simply access this local host. Yeah, you need to run special hosting. Yeah, like I use XAMPP for my MySQL PHP admin, but then yeah, for this application, there's localhost with the port number for 370 is used, and yeah, actually it means that your web application can be accessed from this link there. So yeah, what happens here again? Maybe let's have a quick look. So first of all, we have this special split the screen. Okay. Oh, hold on. I guess maybe yeah. So let me zoom the screen because yes, I changed it since the last time, so it can be a little bit too small for you. Change to 150%. Yes, could be better. Okay. So yeah, then we have so this index model, and then we have this division class text center. So this is the class is actually CSS class. So there are some CSS classes loaded. So maybe in this case we can go to insert element and see how this page is actually then generated. And yes, so we go to this welcome section. There it is. Yeah, so this is about also here. And then some other content is then generated by the application. And so in fact, when we have this, so if I'm not mistaken, if we comment this part out, then we will not have anything but this division. Let's quickly check. We check if it will be even started. Check. Oh no, hold on, that's only the details. Comment out this part. Guess it cannot be removed at this point. Let's just check again. Then we'll actually have the NG application. This one, okay, that's for the title. That's for the title, so that's not really important, but let's see what will happen if we comment out the model. So let's see what's the difference. Okay. No, at this point everything is done fine. So yeah, then the model then is fine. So in fact, then I guess we can change the configuration there. Not mistaken somewhere here. And basically, yeah, based on this, we will have the. I'm not really sure where was it. Where the layout is defined. Yes, I have worked with this for a long time. Maybe not really. Cannot really say where. Okay, maybe this one. Okay, so if I'm not. Okay, yeah. So here we have this layout, right? The title, web application free. Okay. So yeah, so basically, yeah. So from here we define this main layout, the header, the body parts, and then actually this is the main layout of our page, and then everything what is then loaded in the separate pages, then it is basically merged with what is then written here. Yeah. And let's check the last time. But yeah, so first of all, again, remember that this loads index page. Yeah, maybe we're not going deep, just a few parts. What we have here, and then we'll move on. And by the way, if you have any questions, let me know. Yes, it may take a little bit of time. At least it is loading. Sometimes maybe even worse. But yeah, so here we have the base HTML definition. So in fact, you can also see the CSS. So there are the CSS files used here. This is for styling. And yeah, so we have this web application title, it is here. Then we have the navigation bar. Yeah, so we have two elements here, and then actually here you can see that it is rendered the body. It is rendering the body. So the body is then rendered by this framework. It takes the content from the Razor pages and so on. And so at this point, the framework is built in the way that it allows us to have this layout main page, and then we can have the general content under our separate Razor pages. But yeah, so this is how it looks like. It may look different. Yeah, so the question was how to really start there. So the starting points may also be different. In some cases, you may use the existing application, and then just use that as the base. So, for example, there are lots of different applications you may find in GitHub. I mean, if you simply Google for them and just Google some examples, then you can see you will find that some applications, and then you can just simply download them, load, and adjust them as you want. So quite effective and quite easy to work. Yeah, so that would be one point. Of course, you may have some generation application. Yeah, maybe I'll not fall deep for them. Then on practice, if you work somewhere, I mean, if you just not develop your own project from zero, then most likely you will have some kind of already existing project you may take, and there you already see the application, so you actually have the application. Then you may need to introduce something new there, maybe change some kind of existing logic, and so on and so on. Yeah, so it may be the task that you will have there. But yeah, so again, the starting point, it depends. It depends. You may start from everything from the beginning. That may be the relevant case, but I mean, if you have the existing project, if you work with something, then most likely you will need to take the existing solution. But from my experience, the best way to start, especially if you're learning, then it is to take the existing application from somewhere, and then create your own solution based on it. This is the faster, from my experience, the faster way you can learn new things. This is the faster way you can develop new things, and this is the faster things how you will achieve. This is the faster way how you will achieve um, your goal there. At least that's from my experience. For some colleagues, I also discussed such things before. It is easier to develop from scratch from the beginning. That depends. I mean, that depends. I prefer using I just prefer take some existing solutions and then change them and adjust them as I need. Someone prefers to just start from the beginning, just take the empty project and then start developing there. That it depends. It depends what you need and what you want and what you like most. You have any questions about it? Okay, so if there are no questions, feel free to then check it and try it yourself. And then we will move to, I guess, from technical points. This is it, and no more quite technical. Yeah, there are no more quite technical questions. Then let's maybe start with more discussional questions. So first question is about the portfolio, how to build your portfolio as an IT field and the projects for the finished in IT future. Yeah, that's a really good question. Maybe from here I will also share my experience, so maybe that would be helpful. How I started my IT career, my IT journey, and basically around those. So first of all, I started. So I went to the university, and so that was the first. I finished first course. Yeah, actually, I did not study in IT. I studied in mathematics and statistics. But actually, yeah, there were two courses of the programming. Yeah, the programming part one and programming part two. Yeah, actually, I really liked it. There were some interesting tasks. Yeah, mostly since this is for mathematicians, it is a little bit interesting in the way that there are lots of different mathematical algorithms, solutions, and tasks which may be implemented in the using the programming. Yeah, using the programming. I mean, it doesn't. As I said, most of the times it doesn't matter what is the language you start with. So I actually started with Visual Basic. So I mean, others start using C++. Some start with C#. Some start with Java. Again, from my point of view, and from most people's point of view, it doesn't matter. And so if you know if you learn the basics of the programming, then you'll actually be free to switch to any language you want. But yeah, so then we had lots of different mathematical tasks. Yeah, so I implemented. Maybe that was not really really relevant from the practical usage point of view, but that was quite useful to learn the general skills in coding. So yeah, so then there was the finish of the first course, and then there was the summer, so I was searching for some job opportunities, for some learning opportunities, and then at the end of the summer, there was the boot camp. Yeah, there was the boot camp. I applied to. Yeah, I guess I applied somewhere in the middle of the summer. Then at the end of the summer, there was the boot camp, and yeah, so after the boot camp, I started. So I was invited to work. Actually, there was an internship first of all, working company, and yeah, so then that was my first. Then I started working in IT field, and so since then I have been working in the same place for right now that's 4 years. Yeah, and the point here, and yeah, so then I started, and so then I also started learning, because nowadays, if I'm not mistaken, I guess almost all the IT companies you go, uh, and if you are the beginner, then you will have some kind of learning period. Yeah, so companies will provide you some tasks to do. Yeah, so you can learn. You can sometimes it may also be done in the way that some of your colleagues actually work in real projects. Then meanwhile they may ask you for some assistance. So that's also the relevant case. Yeah, so that is how. Yeah, and from my experience, that was quite crazy. So that not I would say not quite crazy, but quite uh, quite lucky beginning, because so there was like 1.5 month, and then I was taken. Yeah, I started working in the real project. Yeah, since I was the intern, there was yeah. Because the thing is that usually, not usually, but the customers, the project customers, they pay for the workers, for the developers from the company. Yeah, but at that time, since I was the intern, and I'm not sure what kind of agreement there was in between the company I'm working and the customer, but the thing is that I actually started working there for free, yeah, as just a free resource. And in fact, yeah, so in fact, I used this project to then actually learn things, to learn the IT about the IT field in general. And yeah, so since then yeah, actually I haven't had really much projects. So from my experience, so during this 4 year period, I have been working. So there were uh, I would say three three major projects. Yeah, but I mean, during these 4 years, I haven't. I guess only there was only 1 month, or actually including the beginning, there were actually in total 2 months where I uh, did not have the project. Yeah, so I always have the projects. I always have the things to do. Sometimes it's like two projects going meanwhile in the same time. Yeah, so there are also things to do there. But yeah, so the point here is that I participated in long-term projects. Right now, I also do the same. And yeah, so then actually time by time, I participate in the projects. I get the experience, and this is how I build my portfolio. And if you go as an internship in any company, I mean, uh, it depends. I mean, it does not. I mean, cannot really say it does not matter, but so whatever, in any place, in any IT company you go, then So if you go as a beginner, then it depends. It depends. If you're lucky, then you'll get the project right at the start and right at the beginning. Sometimes it may take some time until you are involved in the project, so it depends. But if you are a beginner and you start your work there, that you can actually get the project, the real project. So if you work with the customers, and usually, so again, as I am not understand, but as I assume that in practically not the most cases, almost the most cases, are the way that there are the internal projects. I mean, so you go to the company X, then the company X has some internal systems they use, so you need to maybe do some adjustments in the system, you maybe need to develop something like that, and this actually is called internal project. So most of all, if you go to the company, then you may work on internal projects, and this is how you start, this is how you learn, and then you get more and more and more. So basically the experience goes time by time, and this is how you get your experience portfolio in the company. So if you work in the company, and in addition, of course, you may need, if you not need, but also you may need to get some qualifications. So also depends on the field, on the area you work, because some area requires some special certificates to be received by you. So that it depends. Sometimes you may need to pass some kind of exams or something similar. It depends on the field. Uh, yeah, and in addition, of course, you may have some projects outside of your main work. So as I do, sometimes, maybe sometimes, but I try to usually do, but I mean, it depends on the availability of such projects. So it actually means your own business. For example, you may, so just the advice, what I can, maybe not advice, but some kind of maybe not suggestion, but maybe the thing you may think about is so this year, this year and the last year I participated in. Maybe you heard of. I'm pretty sure you heard about it. That's Latvijas Universitātes business incubators. So this is um, this is the place where the business ideas are discussed, um, where there are teams working on some kind of business ideas, and also from my experience, but actually what I always heard from the discussions is that everyone needs IT people. Like totally every business needs IT people. So maybe maybe you can contact and suggest yourself to then build some kind of solution there. I mean, of course, from the beginning you can some kind of do it for free. You can get the experience or something like that. But I mean, in case you have time and you want to build your portfolio, also build your experience in like outside of your main working field, outside of the company, or it may also be university or some courses or something like that. Then you can basically suggest that, hey, can I can I help in some way, and then then you'll definitely hear the response. And then you can try to develop something for them. Again, it depends what they need. It depends what you can, but you can try. So you can try. You can search for some options there, and maybe also build your experience this way. Because on practice, I mean, on practice it may matter, yet since yeah, for me maybe for me it maybe looks a little bit not looks, but from my experience may look a little bit different from others because I haven't had so much interviews, I mean job interviews as others had, because I simply work in one company for 4 years. Um, yeah, so that's why I cannot really compare. I actually had two interviews with the customers. I mean, so every time when my company sells me into the project, then in some cases there may be the interviews with the customers when they ask actually about myself, what I can, what if I actually if I'm the right person for the role in the project they suggest and they pay for, and that's why they may be interviews there. But yeah, so just I mean, general working interviews, I haven't I haven't had for a long time. Yeah, so like for 4 years, and yeah, this is that's why maybe I cannot really give some some practical experience of the job interviews in IT field. But yeah, but if you work individually, if you develop your own projects, I'm pretty sure this will definitely be considered as the plus thing, and especially if you show your attitude that you can and you can work individually. And the key point is, and maybe the most important point at every level in IT field, is that you are able and you can search for the information needed. Yeah, you are you are able to work individually, search for information, get the information you want, also learn about some things. So this is quite useful, and if you actually are able to do it, and maybe if you develop some kind of application or just website or something similar by yourself, and you show it to to anyone, yeah, who actually can give you the or wants to give or you want to apply for the job, uh, then I'm pretty sure this will be considered as a major advantage for you. Yeah. So don't be afraid working on individual projects. Uh, Maybe search for some uh, for some opportunities. Yeah, because again, when I worked in the business, I mean, worked on my projects and my project during this business incubators. Then I used the PHP Laravel framework. Yeah, so this is what I showed you before. Last time I guess. Then yeah, actually I didn't know anything about it. I actually checked for the examples. Yeah, I used some existing solutions. I remodeled it in the way I need. I actually yeah, so because previously I simply um, used the systems which were already set up. Like actually, don't I didn't need to care about the connections to the database or some kind of data exchange. So mostly I worked with the existing setup there. This time I actually had to do everything individually, like so to set up the server, to set up the database, to get the connection, to search for some APIs. Like I had to use. So actually, the thing was that I developed a website which it's like the shops on the e-commerce. That's the shop where you can select for the products, then order them, and yeah, order them, and after that there should be the email sent, and also the text message sent to some kind of some phone number, and to the phone number specified, and then the API is used, which actually provides such option to send SMS as the text message to the phone number provided. Yeah, so that's also the API, and yeah, so just if you're interested, that's the API, that's SMS API, and yeah, there are different APIs you can search and find them in browser and Google and research them. And yeah, they're paid, yeah, so it means that for every SMS I send, I need to pay some kind of amount. There, but yeah, that's also API, which actually links, connects my application with this SMS provider. I'm not really sure how this technology really works, but yeah, so I actually send the data to this SMS to this API software, and then this software actually sends an SMS to the phone number provider. But yeah, that depends, and yeah, so that was the project where I learned lots of new things. I had to work individually from the beginning till the end, and yeah, so since then I guess I built pretty lots of things what added the value for me. So this is why it depends. It depends. Don't be afraid searching for some opportunities to work, to help others, and that will be the way how you can build your portfolio. Yeah? Do you have any questions about it? Okay, if there are no questions, let's move to the so about the resources, the podcasts. To be honest, I'm not quite familiar with some kind of books or something similar. Uh, I'm not really sure, to be honest, about the books. What you can do, so the best, I mean, so the best source is of course Google and searching engine when you search for something. But what I can suggest is to take search for some kind of existing application. Yeah, so just type, let's say .NET, the ASP.NET application example, then download it, and then you will see lots of codes there, or just some kind of other application. So just search for the existing application, then yeah, of course, check it. That's the trusted source. It's not like some random place where random person shared it. Yeah, so maybe that's some kind of trusted place. So, and then you can search for. Then you can see the code. You can check what the code does. You can learn about the best practices from it, and then of course try it yourself. Yeah. So regarding the books, again, I'm not sure. For C# you can find the most information in Microsoft page. So every time you maybe search for something in volume, you are navigated to the Microsoft page itself. So that is in most case how it works. But yeah, so in particular, I'm not really sure about books. You can simply have a free search in YouTube. So if I'm not mistaken, there are lots of videos from Microsoft provided. Yeah, so they developed their application. They show the guide to you. Yeah, they guide you how to develop the applications, and then you can simply repeat the steps from there. I mean, from the beginning, that can also be fine. But yeah, so nothing special what I can really recommend. So mostly it depends on the field you work, and then you search for the materials, and then it usually, again, for me, it's usually free search. Yeah, just one small remark. In the office, we have lots of technical books. Yeah, what we can, in theory, we can read and learn from. but almost all of them are used as the holders for our monitors, and I guess that's that's the typical typical experience in lots of IT companies, yeah, where the actual books are used as the holders for the monitors. Yeah, so that's a small remark. But yeah, so that is how it can happen. And yeah, mostly that's the best option from my experience would be the free search in the internet in Google. So yeah, do you have any questions so far? Okay, and then the last thing before we move to before we go back to our application, yeah, our application is the algorithms, and yeah, so the thing is how to think algorithmically, how to understand the problem and create algorithm to solve it. Again, any books? Again, I'm not a fan of the books, to be honest. So most of things I try to do from experience and try to touch things by myself. Um, but yeah, how to really think algorithmically? So first of all, you need to train. And first of all, and secondly, you need to train yourself. So, if I mean, from programming perspective, what I really recommend is that. So, for example, try to search, try to find the field you really like to do. Yeah. For example, and maybe try to find some practical problem. So, for example, you may want to some, do some kind of data visualization. You may want to create at least some kind of simple web page. Yeah. So then, first of all, yeah, first thing when you need to when you how you can um, start start learning how to think algorithmically is that you define a problem. You define, I mean, how to teach yourself. You should define a problem you want to achieve, and maybe different problems. Yeah, so just try to develop again something, web application, website, or just something for fun. Yeah, maybe for fun, or also what you really need to use. And and yes, when you will search for the solutions, when you will actually go through, yeah, when you will try to do the solution, then time by time you will get the algorithmical way of thinking. Yeah, so when you have the problem, yeah, actually think is that when you have the problem. So that's always the first thing. You should have some kind of problem you want to solve, and every time you actually think about how you can achieve solving this particular problem you define. Then every time you will have the steps in your mind, yeah, you will see the steps in your mind, and then then yeah, so basically the steps in your mind and the steps then you actually implement, then this is the algorithm. Yeah, this will be the algorithm how you solve the problem. Yeah, so yeah, my recommendation is try to define a problem, and then once you define a problem, so think about how you can get to this, how you can solve this problem. Yeah, so you're gonna, so I can then define the view. So first of all, I have to have the view where, for example, if I want to develop the web page, so the web page to this or that. Yeah, so maybe just the simple would be that page which shows the, say, just global stock market prices or something like that. Yeah, so the first thing what you think about is that, yeah, so the result, the problem, I want to see the web page which has the chart with the stock prices. So then again, I have all these elements I just imagined, yeah, how this may look. So first of all, I have the, let's say, web page. So I think about first step is in what kind of environment I will develop this web page. So for example, it can be same. Um, razor pages. Yeah, so I create the, so the first step is then I create the application. Yeah, so I have this base of the application. So the first thing this is the first step, I just imagine that I will then do. So again, the second step is that, not the second step, but then what I see in my mind, I see the, so we need to have the, we have the chart, chart where the stock prices are displayed. Yeah? So then the next thing what I think about is, okay, I have the prices, so I need to get the data from somewhere, right? So then I'm searching for the solution, I'm searching for the way how I can get the data. Okay, so once I found, so maybe there are again some kind of APIs maybe used there to get this data from some kind of sources and so on and so on. Many different ways how this can be done. Yeah, so that depends. So that's the second step. Yeah, I'm searching and I find the way how I can get the relevant real-time stock prices. Yeah, for example. So then the next thing. So at this point I know how to get data. So then I will know that I can get this data in the code, and then inside the code I will have this data. Yeah, so again, at this point I have the environment, I have the data. So the next step is that again, I think what else do I have? I have the chart. So then I need to think about some visualization options I can apply there. Yeah, so I think about visualization options. I search for some tools. Yeah, Google something. Then I find out how I can display the data. So then I maybe copy paste some code from somewhere or just use something similar. So then I have the visualization tools. I try to put my data there. Then I see if the try is successful or not. If not, try again. And so maybe do some adjustments and so on and so on. So that's the first step. That's the next step. So what else? Then I check how it looks. If there's something missed, then I add them if I don't like, and that's the actual algorithm. Yeah, so define the problem, the first step, and then check for the elements you may need to get the solution of this particular problem. Yeah, so this is how I can recommend you uh, to to learn how to think algorithmically. About the books, again, I don't have the books. I mean, from my experience, I mostly work on some kind of mathematical problems. Again, since I'm a mathematician, yes, so there are also different solutions I had to then do as a mathematician, and of course, such step by step how to find x and how to solve the equation or something like that. Then of course that all requires some kind of steps to do. Yeah. So and the same as in programming. So you define your steps then um, and then you and then you go. Okay. So do you have any questions? Okay. Then the last thing what we do is that we will finish the application on the application the forms that forms we started last time. So let me open that application. Ah, that was also listed. Yeah, so just to not spend the time on the layout definition, I will I already defined the layout, and I mean from my experience, it is always in the way that the easiest way how I can define the layout is just simply use the table. Yeah, so just to split the screen the right places, I can easily use I can easily use the uh, the the table. Yeah, so in this case I have some kind of table layout, so I have the rows, I have the columns, and I just simply split the screen into the columns and rows, and then I put the corresponding element in the place I need. So in this case I adjusted the screen a little bit. We will have the name, surname, and working district. Yes, so maybe just before we implement, I have not implemented the logic, you know, how I will say the background logic, yeah, how this will work. So I will we'll do it now together. Yeah, so the idea would be that I enter the name, I enter the surname. Oh yeah, there's also crimes solved. Yeah, so I'll add another column where we'll add the crimes solved, and from here, yeah, in this case, we'll have the duplicated districts. We'll do it a little bit differently, but the thing is that here we will select for the entry. Yeah, so there will be the drop down with the districts available. And then once we fill all the entries, I will press add, and then we'll add uh, the the entry into the database table. So first of all, let me add one more column there for the crimes solved. So I need to add one more column. How to do that? So you'll see the column here, and then I need to add. I will add another text then here. So where was it? And one is missed. And no, so here we go. Here we have, let's add one more, and that would be the number of crimes solved. Yeah, of course I need to then add the column number. For the first one that will be 0. For the second one that should be 1. For the third one that should be 2. And for the for the fourth one that would be 3. So okay, maybe just to make it shorter, so in this case it looks like I need to make it, can we make it a little bit larger here? Okay, maybe let's expand this a little bit. Window. Okay, let's make it a little bit smaller then. Okay, something like that. Let's also make the size of the input wider. and the same for the surname. So that would be one. Let's for the working districts. Hold on. Yeah, so let's add them right there. So I'll add the add button at the end, and then I'll add text box for the working district as well. Or not for the working district, but for the number of crimes solved. Okay, so now it is better. Now it is better, and so you don't change the margins. I guess you can then keep the same thing since this is the number. Okay, so for the surname I make it a little larger then. Okay, so this then should be fine. And yeah, now we're ready to implement the logic. Yeah, one more thing, let's add the list then here. Select on the list. Maybe the list box. I'm not mistaken. Can we add it here? Yes, we can add it. And just then I can simply close it down. We change the. I can add it here. Let's maybe. We can add it outside the grid, just for now. Okay. One minute, let me check, let me try. Or maybe let's then make it easier. We'll add then another row. Another row. And maybe I'll define that the height is height is 70. And run. Okay. Okay, then maybe let's add the list box and the last column, for example. The last row. So that would be the list box, and then I'll say that the row would be. We have 4 rows, right? 1, 2, 3. Okay. It means that should be the third number 3. Okay. Yeah. That's correct. Let's see. Here it is. Maybe make it. Expand it a little bit. Okay, and what's then? Yeah, also let's add the name. For this list box, so we can determine it from the code. And that would be officers list. Yeah. So and then let's set them from the main view. So the officers, the name of the box is officers. Oh, hold on, that's officers list. Let's maybe simply call it officers. Make it easier to us. So now it should be fine and not be uncommon at this point. So now let's see how the initial view will look like. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, and here you can see the list of all the officers. So a moment, it is also possible to then merge the columns. Let me quickly check how can we do it. Yes, I just forgot about it. Let me quickly check it. Yes. One moment. So okay. So that's column span, of course. So first let's define a column. That would be 0 and column span. This will mean that we'll take, let's take all the four columns. Let's move it down a little bit. So we will have it down. Okay. That should be better. Save it. That's it here now. Let's check how the here. Okay, so here we go. And yeah, so I can see that the list is placed on the full place here. Okay, so and now let's implement the logic, which will first of all let's get the districts, all the relevant districts, and populate them under this dropdown. How we can do it? So let's do the select. Let's do select. Yeah, I go to the initialization here, and there I need to get the private sets, let's say we'll set possible districts. And so, and from here I will select I will write the select query. And there I will write the select query. So that will be select name. Let's select, we have ID and name, yes? So then, moment, let me quickly double check how our table looks like. This is loading. Yeah, so let me check. We have ID, and we have external ID, and we have, okay, so we need an external ID. So that will be name and external ID from district. Yes, that's it. And then we will execute the command, and I will fill in the districts we have. So in this case, okay, I'll say district read. And that will be the district query. First on the officer read, the district read. So minus, of course. And yeah. So and let's write these entries somewhere. So first, what we can do as an option, we can directly fill in into the, if I'm not mistaken, as the working district, right? And so here okay. So it's just for testing purposes. So we have the items here, and we can actually add the item. So we can add it directly. But there's one point I don't like, is that moment. There is one moment I don't really like. Let's then do the following thing. Let's define the local class, and here we'll define the structure of the district. So that will be just simple district class, which will then have the name and ID. Give a string name and private integer external ID. So then define the getters. So the same way as we did for the officer class. So republic should that be getter, return external ID, and set, I will set the external ID as well. Yeah, by the way, here's the handle slip as well. So there's a mistake here. Yeah, so then the setter for ID and for the name, let's have it the same. Getter in this name. And for the setter, let's set the name. Yeah, so and then I will also then redefine the method to string. Hold on. To string, and then I will simply return the name in this case. Yeah. So and then here I will create a new, yeah, so I can use also the constructor here. So let me public, so we have public district. So I can do the parameterized constructor, do the name and string, or the integer here. And then I'll set values from here. Put cool. And then we can fill the value from here. So I can just directly do, oh, now hold on, I will also have the collection of them. So the same way I can store the officers, I would like to store the districts. And then, yeah, then I will add, first of all, create a new district as the object. So that would be the district. So the name I will take it from the selection query. Oh, so district reader gets string, so that will be the first column, right? And then for the ID, that will be the second column I receive. And so the first one I get from here, and then the second one you get integer, that will be the second column. And then from here I can add the district. So let's see how this will work. Ah, yeah, of course, let's also fill in the collection. Yeah. Okay, let's see how it looks like. So let's see, what do we have here? Here we have empty list. Why is empty? Why is empty? I know why, because we haven't called this method. Sorry, it's the usual mistake. I forgot to call this method. I need so let me set possible distance. So let's check what we have now. So again, okay, what's the exception? Okay, so what I need to do, um, one moment. Master action is already in use. Okay. Okay, this is about MySQL connector. What methods we have under the commands. Console amendments and pause close or something similar. One moment, let's quickly check it again. Okay, quickly check it. I don't remember what was the solution for this. Okay, we can try to use asynchronous, or as the option we can close the connection then. We can close the connection. Yeah, that will be the option. So again, we can use asynchronous. Yeah, so maybe just for now, let's make it simple. Let's close the connection. Maybe. And let's open it again. So let's try it again. I mean, we can use asynchronous, but in this case, just to make it easier, let's simply do it this way. Okay. So the application opened. And let's check now. Yeah, so now I have all the test threads in place. Yeah, so and now the next and the last step is that I will try to add the districts on here. Oh no, this is for the officers. So Yeah, pretty much it. So we have this button on add, right? So we have this, and yeah, so here we just simply add it into the list. So for us, then the next step would be that we will add it into the database. So let's then open the connection, and let's do that in a separate method. Do like this add officer to database. That will be void, and I'll call this void item here. So, and here I will again open the connection. And I will basically write similar things here. I will take the code what we developed for the previous database. Remember when we use multiple parameters there, one moment, we can copy paste this code. Moments. Let me quickly search for it. So it was this one, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, this is this one. Yeah, we have this parameter. And let me maybe just copy paste this query. And that was for district, and in our case, let's maybe add the same for the officer. So here we go. So then the query will be the following. Yeah, and then here we'll not put for the officer, so we have only one officer there, and we'll add the value. So what are the values we have? We have the name surname, that's fine, working district, that will be the external ID, right? So we'll add it from the object, and then the prime so let's then add the value. So where we can get the value will be taken from the string. So this is our name, yeah, what we define there. And so here's the name. Yeah, name, surname, we'll take all these parameters there. So then this will be name. Right. That's the text, right? Oh no, so let's I should get the text there, right? Text, here we go. Then the next one would be surname, right? And the same way I get the surname. Here, the text here. Then the working district, and this will be more interesting. Here I will, so this would be working district, and so these are the items. So I will take the selected item. Yeah, this will be the object, and yeah. So here I actually need to do the downcasting. So then I will do it this way. I will define a variable district. I will, yeah, because I guess it does not understand, right? Yeah, it does not understand. So here I need to then do the downcasting. and then from here I can pass the IP of the disk. So, any questions, please let me know. Okay, so here we have the ID, and the last one is the number of prime solved. So this is the integer, so we need to then pass it as the integer. That's why I will use try. In this case, I will not do the exception handling. I will just simply call parse method then. And in fact, we can also use the integer input field. In this case, I'll simply parse the text. So just to make it easier, and that would be this. Prime solved, right? Yeah. Primes solved. This one. Point. Ah, yeah, of course, that should be the value. Text. Yeah, and let's see what do we have then, and there's the execute query. And then let's maybe do the following thing. I'll close the connection at the end. And then I will reload the list of the officers. So then to reload it, I need to then call this method set values from database. Database. Before that, I will clear the current list. So this is the list, officers list, right? Or just simply officers. Then I will clear this. Yes, it should be possible to clear. Done. Okay, officers items. Okay. Items, and from here, yes, I can clear. Yeah, I can clear the collection. Of course, then I can add it from the beginning. Okay, so let's check. Check. Okay, so let's try them. So let's say we have name surname. Let's want district 2. Number of crimes on page 23. Let's press add. Do we have any result? Looks like we don't have any result. Let's check maybe if the database is uploaded. I don't think so, but let's check. Let's check. No, the entries are not updated. Okay, then let's see what's the problem. See what's the problem. So for the offset class that should be fine. I guess for the button, what's the problem? Oh yeah, I guess I forgot to add the handler, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, for the button I don't have in handler. Yeah, I'm sorry, my fault. And yeah, then the method would be add officer. So I forgot to add the handler for the button. The on click, of course. Or no, just simply click. It will be add officer. Okay. Let's try again. So let's see, is there maybe some mistakes? So let me district 2. Press adds, and what do we have? We have the exception. Okay, I guess I forgot to then open the connection. Yeah, that was the point. That was the point. Where did we close the connection? Yeah, yes, okay, I closed them here. Okay, so then I need to open the connection again. Let's this connection open. Yeah, then let's try again. Yes, we closed the connection to the database and we did not open it back. I guess maybe, okay, the entry is already there, so the logic works fine. So let's then check the last thing. So at the working district, and we can see the values here. So everything is fine. Do you have any questions? Yeah, so we can also change the layout here. I will not then do it, because that's the small thing. And the key thing is that the logic works fine. Do you have any questions? Yeah, so, and this is how the question about the topic about the add, remove, add from code. Yeah, so basically the idea is the same. We write the SQL query. Yeah, the SQL query is the insertion query, it's the selection query, update query, or whatever it is, and then we have this query, and then we have these dynamic parameters. Yeah, so again, why we need dynamic parameters? To make our structure of the SQL query correct, because sometimes what may happen, instead of the parameter values, there may be some kind of brackets, which in theory may break the whole code. Yeah, so in case, like, if you just simply concatenate the strings in the SQL query using the code, then you get you may have the situation, for example, let's say that you simply concatenate all these values, and then let's say that under the name the value is passed as some kind of string, and then the right bracket, and then semicolon. What will happen? Then you have corrupted SQL statement, and there may be some incorrect results you get in the result. If you have the parameters, then you simply just put the exact value, which will not affect the SQL query in general. Yeah, so only the values will be passed. This is why we use the parameters, not just simply concatenation of the string there. And then we basically simply write the logic which will fill in these parameters. Yeah, that's the point. Any questions you can ask? I see Alan is typing in. So meanwhile, I will also then share this code with you. So a moment. A moment. I will share this code. So one quick moment. Yeah, so I will reply to the questions. So just So the question from, do we always have to create lists in order to then write the code for insert move from database? Or we can simply write, yeah, so that's a good question. Now you can simply write the logic as you want. Why I want to use list, because that makes it flexible. But yeah, in this case, I guess, yeah, you are right. I guess we don't even need these lists. Yeah, that's a good point here. Yeah, thank you much, because in this case we don't really need them. In some cases we may need them just to store the data somewhere, but in this case that's a good point. So the point, I guess we can skip using them. So I just, from my experience, I have the cases where I need them, and that's why I just simply have this some kind of habit. But yeah, in our particular case, that's a good point. I guess we don't need them. Yeah, and just the habit, for me. Because sometimes you may need to store the data. Some, in this case, we just simply store the data under the items. But in some cases, you may not have the items, or you may have some kind of other data structures where you cannot really store the objects. And in such cases, to be able to store these objects, yeah, the list of the objects, you then need to use the collections. Yeah, so just in case you don't have the list, but you need to store the data, then in such cases you may need to you can use the collections. But yeah, that's a good point. In this case, yeah, that was the right thing. We never use them. And yeah, is it possible to edit the already edit? Yes, it is possible. You then need to write the query in a similar way, but instead of using insert, you will need to use update. Then the code will be the same, but instead of insert, you will need to write update. I mean, you can write everything from the code what you can write in SQL. Yeah, so basically what the code does, the code just simply generates the SQL statement, which is then executed on the database level. So like from the code, you can write everything, generate every SQL query, what you can write from directly from the PHP admin. Yeah, so just the only difference would be that instead of insert, you'll have update, and then the logic will be absolutely the same. Yeah. So this is how the update query looks like. Yeah, so there will be instead of the values, you'll have set, and then just simply set every value where the condition is. But from the code you can do it. Yeah, I mean just the same way as insert. Only the SQL query is different. Yeah, you can write all of the possible queries. Yeah, like you can also, from code, you can also create the database table. It is also possible. Yeah, create the database table, change the database table, set some settings on the database. That can also be done from the code. I mean, every SQL query you can execute from here. You can execute the same way from the code as well. Yeah. Yeah. So you can see the. So, do you have, yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. Do you have any more questions? So for you, I hope you're doing well with your assignments, with your project work. Yeah, I just already copy pasted the code, and then the next step would be that I will share it in GitHub. One moment. Not from here. It will be from here. So let me. Yeah, there's Git. Yeah, I lost Git bash. Where is it? Strange why I don't have Git bash anymore. But okay, then I'll use command prompt. Yeah, it doesn't matter what kind of terminal you use. Change the directory here and all the elements. Commit. Yeah. Let me push the changes. So yeah, I should have the changes in GitHub. Yeah. So okay, then regarding this session tomorrow. So how it also happened during my previous courses. So actually, for now, we've gone through all the possible topics, and tomorrow will be the optional session. So it means that I will be here. I will be in place, and just in case you have any questions, you can come and ask me, and then I will create the meeting. I mean Google Meet. I will share, and then I will share the link, and then and maybe I will just simply share the link as always at the beginning, and then you can ask your questions. Yeah, and then I will just simply answer them. Yeah, so it won't be like I will share any material, just you ask me any question, and then I can just simply show something or answer it. So that won't be the way I. For the code, yeah, on Monday, that's the good question. So we have, as usually, 3 hours planned. And so, one moment. So we have, if I'm not mistaken, we have 7 groups, right? So 7 groups. Okay, let's get some time buffer. 7 groups, 3 hours. Let's say minus. That would be 180 minutes. So let's take 20 minutes for buffer. So that would be 160 minutes divided by 7. So approximately 20 minutes for each group. Then that would be with the question. So let's say there will be 15 minutes of presentation maybe, and then 5 minutes of the questions part. And yeah, the same time as usual. Yeah, so it starts at 6:30, and again, I have not received any information from the questions part. I mean, as I said, there will be most likely. Yeah, I don't know, but most likely there will come some. I guess 2 representatives from Accenture, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. I guess for now, to be honest, Zander has not contacted me about their presence, but normally there are 2 representatives from Accenture, and they may ask some questions to you. I mean, no complicated questions, yeah, just something maybe about your code, about maybe your opinion or something like that, yeah, so just some small questions to you they may ask. So I mean, you present, and of course after each presentation there may be some questions. And so I mean, also maybe from me there may be some questions, but mostly the questions maybe from the guests, if they come, of course. I don't know. At least for now, Zana has not contacted me. But normally there are the guests and they ask the questions. I mean, not sure about this time, but they may come. They may come. Yeah. So, any questions? Any more questions? And how deep should we? I mean, so as much as you can in 15 minutes time range. I mean, don't go really deep there. Just some basic things. So like here I have this class. Here I have maybe. I mean, don't explain each method. Yeah, maybe explain here I have some methods. Yeah, so they do this, they do that. I mean, not so deep, just in general. Yeah, so show the code. Yeah, maybe show some key parts of your code. Yeah, so nothing really specific. Yeah, maybe don't go really deep because we have time limit. I mean, in general. Yeah, but I mean some key parts, some key